Hello, lovely people. Hope everybody's having a beautiful day. I wanted to jump on here and share some information with you, some information that I've been downloading, processing, playing with for quite some time. And I'm just coming to some conclusions, and I wanted to share those because I think they will help us going forward and in terms of our own understanding. So there's a whole bunch of different points, and so bear with me as I try to piece this all together. I find it easier sometimes to do this when I'm actually interacting with someone else in a conversational format. It just flows much easier. So just bear with me as I do this by myself. Okay, so it has to do with polarity, the understanding of polarity by our galactic family members and friends, and how I'm seeing this whole thing playing out from the past 5 to 6 years to now to going forward. So it has to do with I'm really coming to understand that a lot of the galactic beings have no concept of polarity. Okay, their operating system is such, they're in such a state of neutrality that they have nothing in their operating system that helps them have an understanding of what polarity is. And I've had a few different experiences that have made me start to realize that, and it has to do with also, and I'm bringing this up because it has to do with some of the timelines that we've been given, not timeline in the sense of that this timeline is going to change in terms of it's already we're on a positive outcome timeline, right? That the light's going to win, we're going to be these amazing multidimensional beings. But in terms of some of the dates we've been given as to when things are going to be done by. So going back 5, 6 years ago, even 3 years ago, some people were receiving intel that the inverted matrix was going to be shut down by a specific date. I think it was like June 2019. I can't remember exactly, or November 2019, because it was slowly going to be shut down, and that the moon, all the frequencies that were coming from the moon were going to be shut down. And after that date, we were no longer going to have all this interference into our ego minds, and people were going to start to wake up and all of that good stuff. And it never sat with me, like it didn't resonate that it was going to be that easy. And so when all of that happened, as we can see now, all that happened was that our team players on the other side, that are playing the role of the negative forces, so to speak, just found other ways, right? Like satellites are now being used, mind control frequencies are being used, television is now being used, and now we're being bombarded for the past 15 months with even more inverted matrix type frequencies, programmings than ever before. Okay. And so that was always something that I found interesting. I was taken a few years ago to the back end of the inverted matrix by a friend, and I saw all the landmines, all the different types of landmines that went on for, like, it was unbelievable how many landmines there were in terms of trying to get out of the inverted matrix. And on the one hand, it was shocking to see how difficult they had made it. But on the other hand, it made me realize that, wow, we must be really powerful beings for them to have to even need to create these many different types of landmine after landmine after landmine to keep us inside this bubble of an inverted matrix, right? So on the one hand, yes, the inverted matrix has been shut down. That bubble is no longer there, which is why we're waking up the way we are. But on the other hand, they have found other ways to bring in frequencies and ways to control, right? So when this friend of mine had taken me behind the scenes, we also went and looked at the organic 3D matrix. And in the organic 3D matrix, I saw that it had already been infiltrated. And I saw all these little devices that have been put into the organic 3D matrix grid by our other team that plays for the dark. And so I pointed this out to my friend. They were surprised. And then the galactic beings, I could feel their energy. They were surprised that this had happened. They hadn't actually seen it. So they said thank you. And they went right into making sure that that was removed and taken out. So that was a bit surprising for me to see that they hadn't picked up on it. But what it started to show me was that because the Galactics play by the rules, they play by universal law, and because they don't understand polarity anymore, they don't know the all the different means to which our other team players who are playing for the dark side are going to use to infiltrate and to do things by their own rules. Okay. The other side doesn't play by any rules at all. They just do whatever the heck they need to get their agenda done. Okay. That's their only goal, is to get their agenda done. Even though they know at this point that they are going to lose, they want to just keep it going and do their level best. They have this operating thing in their operating system, the story in their operating system, that they have to do their level best, like give 200%, 300% to try and get the agenda as far as it can, even if they don't get it all the way. I just got some information. And the reason why they want to do that is because they're using it as an opportunity to learn how far they can take it, because in case they ever want to regroup and rebuild to try again, they will have that knowledge. That's the information I just got. Okay, so our galactic friends are not understanding polarity. They are not understanding all the different ways in which these guys can create new chess plays in this chess game. And so then they're kind of surprised when things happen. And I'm bringing that up because so many people are channel galactic beings, and so many people get intel from galactic beings that by such and such date, this is going to be done. And for example, 6 months ago, that the whole Jabby agenda wasn't going to play out at all. And then, 3 or 4 months ago, well, the Jabby agenda is going to be played out, but it's not going to, people are going to have a choice to get it, right? And that the passport situation is not going to happen. And none of that stuff ever resonated with me, because I've always seen this getting quite intense. Not that I want to see this getting intense, but I've always seen this getting quite intense. So when people who I really trust and respect and admire say these things and it doesn't resonate, I know there's some kind of discrepancy or discordance. So that's what really got me questioning and thinking. And I'm realizing it's because our galactic friends do not understand polarity. So I'm bringing that up because I don't want us to get stuck on these end dates, okay? Because then what happens is by 2022, this is all going to be over. And if it's not over, it really creates a real despair kind of feeling, a helplessness, a powerlessness feeling in us, which we absolutely don't want to create. Actually, by 2022, we'll be quite well advanced within our own being at that point. So we don't need to rely on dates as much. We'll have our own way of knowing, our own intel. I just got that information, which is great. But for now, I want us to know that we can't always rely on this intel, and we don't want to hold on and have attachments to this kind of intel, okay? Because the other side doesn't play by any rules. And I'll give you an example. Several years ago, I love going into meditation and exploring. Okay. So I went into meditation and I went right to the end of the universe and to the other side. And when you jump off the universe and go to the other side, it's nothing. It's all black, which is amazing. And it's nothingness. Like there isn't even the ability to have a thought form, because a thought form is a creation, and you can't do that when you're on the other side. There was no physicality. I was nothing except that I could still see into it. Okay. So it was really interesting. It's dark matter, which is nothing, but has the potential to become anything. Okay. And so our universe is being designed and created by this dark matter being transmuted and transformed into planets, star systems, creations, life organisms, living organisms, all of that. So as I, excuse me, as I play and explore stuff, I'm always curious about the other side and their agendas. And at one point, as I was in these meditations, I saw that they had actually tried to take over Source. Yeah. So they obviously were not successful, but it gives us, it gave me an understanding of how grandiose their own belief system is about who they are, and how powerful and godlike they feel they are. Okay. And then I saw that because they couldn't take over Source, they actually have attempted to create their own version of Source in the dark matter. They've created this like segue from the edge of the universe out into the dark matter. And they've created this contraption that is their attempt at creating another version of Source. Now, it's not a very powerful contraption, but it is enough to have allowed them the capacity to create artificial light. Okay. They're using their artificial source as their way of creating a trickster opportunity of creating artificial light. So many light workers, energy workers, healers, especially the ones that chose not to wake up to the agenda, are now operating with artificial light. Okay. Like the energy they're bringing in, or Reiki, or whatever they're doing. And people are having especially when they're having amazing healing results. A lot of times it's artificial light. So these people are bringing in artificial light, not realizing at all, A, that there is even a concept of artificial light in a lot of cases, and B, not even being able to discern it, because in many ways, it feels like light, like organic source light. But there is a discernment to it. There is a difference, very subtle, but once you learn to discern it, in a lot of cases, that it's artificial light. So it's given them that ability to create artificial light, hence they can co-opt healers and light workers. So also some of the people who are channeling galactic beings are channeling beings that are actually working for the other side, who have the ability to now cloak into artificial light. Okay. And I'm just saying artificial light with quotations because it presents as light. And so they think they are channeling a light being and they're giving intel, but in actual reality, they're not. Okay. It's artificial light. It's a being that's actually working for the dark, and possibly an entity. And they feel that they are doing a great service by channeling this information. So something to be aware of. And as I'm sharing this information, I'm actually getting a bit of a psychic attack because they don't want me to share this information. But that's okay. We're very powerful beings, and I no longer agree to any form of attacks. So my case in point here is that There are so many ways that they can create chess plays, okay, in this chess game that are not necessarily accounted for, that are not even necessarily expected. And as we have seen over the past 15 months, certain agendas have played out that we were told in the beginning were never going to be allowed to play out. And yet they are being played out because they find loopholes, right? They always find loopholes to do this. And I'm sharing this not to scare anybody or to make anybody feel powerless or helpless, but because it's important for us to know not to get attached to these end dates. Okay. There's so much more I could say about this, but what I need to say, I need to keep on track here. So that's the polarity issue. And artificial light I've covered. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that because they're playing a big game. Like it's not just our planet. It's a bigger game within the universe that is being played by the dark side. And I don't again want to make it sound like it's us and them, because we've all actually interchanged roles and in lives, right? Sometimes we're playing for the light, sometimes we go and choose to play for the dark, because we're learning in each of those scenarios. And Prime Creator has created this dark, powerful side because it then allows us to create more and more of a light, powerful side. And it's about us all reaching our potential. Okay. That's really what this is all about. So I just wanted to interject that information in. So because this dark side that was created by Prime Creator is turning out to be so effective at what they do and so powerful, Prime Creator then had to go back to the drawing board and create another life form that was going to be able to handle this dark side. Okay, so got together with many of the advanced galactic beings in this galaxy, and that is how we were designed. Okay, we as humans now, we were designed with the most advanced DNA from about 12 different advanced galactic species beings. Okay, there are relatives, there are family members, and a few others were involved. And this isn't my information, you know, other people have shared this information. And so we've been given the most advanced aspects of their DNA combined together to form this version of human. Okay. And then what happened was the inverted matrix came in and just completely separated us from our soul to such a degree that we forgot who we were. And now we're playing this role of this little human, thinking we have no power, or that we're not these expanded consciousness beings. And so much of our DNA never got a chance to actually be expressed. So now what's happening is our family members on the Galactics have already agreed ages ago to come in at this time to start helping us learn who we are. It's like when parents start to teach their 6-month-old or 9-month-old how to walk. Okay, like kids need the guidance, right? In different stages of their life, they need guidance from the parents. So our galactic family members are coming in now separately at separate times, and they're bringing in codes to turn on parts of our DNA that are from them. Okay, so like the Pleiadians came in at one point and they brought in the frequency that is required to start to turn on the aspects of our DNA that are from their DNA. because they're the ones that have that frequency to do so. Somebody from the Arcturians they have a different frequency. They're now coming in and turning on the aspects of the DNA within us that are from the Arcturian DNA, right? So every one of our family members whose DNA we have, they're coming in at different times to start to turn on our DNA. They're playing that role of the guidance to start to teach us how to walk, okay, with some of this stuff, to start to teach us, to start to turn that on, and so that we can start to play with it. We can start to play with these new energies. It's like when you have to hire an Apple certified technician to upgrade your Apple computer, because maybe someone who only understands PCs wouldn't be able to do that, right? So it's the same thing. They're coming in, they're turning on aspects of our DNA that are from them, and we are upgrading accordingly, okay? And the reason why it is so amazing that this is happening and so important that this is happening is because we have been created with the potential of being these really expansive multidimensional beings, like super duper. We are like the royalty of this galaxy and maybe even this quadrant. I don't know, but we've been designed by Prime Creator and by our galactic family members to be the best creation that has ever been created in this arena. And in doing so, we are going to, once we become who we are becoming and what our potential is in becoming, we'll be able to shut down our team players who are playing the dark role. We'll be able to shut them down like that. Okay, that is how powerful we are. And in that sense, our galactic family members are waiting for us to get to that point where we can do that. We can come in and shut that down, okay? And it's all being perfectly designed where they need us to do that. And need is probably not the right word, but it's all designed that we're going to be the ones to do that. So in essence, we are the Neos of this galaxy, okay? We are becoming the Neos. We are the ones, okay, to shut the other side down. And it's not a good, bad, ugly, or anything like that, but it's to shift out of a polarity kind of existence altogether and to really diminish the other side who's playing with polarity, because their experiment is now done. Like it's been done, and they just think they are powerful enough to become their own gods and decide on their own terms how they want to play this game, and they want to take it over. But the experiment is done. So because they're not stopping, it's creating more pressure. And the more pressure that's being created and we're being squeezed, the more light actually comes in and cracks through that pressure and helps us become more powerful faster. So I hope that's helpful. There were other things that I wanted to share, but this, everything has its own flow of how the information comes out. And that is what I have to share today with you all. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating and being a part of this whole journey that we're all on. And I hope you found this information helpful. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comment sections and I will check them out at another time and respond. Much love to you all. Thank you.